Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your co-founder and co-host of the Creative Birth Strategy Podcast, bringing you consistent education, networking, and strategy every single week with our great audience. Really want to thank everybody for checking in with us to this morning. We're here every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing you some really great, hopefully, information for you to take back for educational purposes. Let me just mute this gentleman real quick. Mute. There you go. So we've had a very busy week with the podcast. We've had over 3,000 views just in the last week on the last podcast, which I want to thank Mr. Yarrow Perkins of Perkatech, my co-founder and co-host of this podcast as well. I want to thank our other sponsors, which have been so important to us over the last several years. As we, go toward the 200th episode, we're now past the 100th episode. I want to thank MB Capital Solutions, your unsecured business line of credit program, providing unsecured business lines for real estate professionals throughout the country. I'd like to thank Lendmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing nationwide asset-based lending throughout the country for real estate professionals in the single family through four family and multifamily space, as well as mixed use, new construction, DSCR, fixed to rent, and fixed to flip. I'd like to thank Realty 411, Ms. Linda Pelagas, who provides national events as well as national education throughout the country, virtually and in live formats. And then finally, I'd like to thank Elite Dealmakers, where I'm hosting events here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And then finally, TCS Property Management, where my licenses are held for real estate in New Jersey and PA. So just a recap, catch up with a lot of people. I was in Greenville, South Carolina this past week at the Southeastern Expo. Got to hang out with a lot of great real estate professionals and investors in the South Carolina market. And just the consensus is it's very busy in the investors space right now. Very busy. Everybody's trying to jockey for spots. It kind of relates to the market update to this week. Pending home sales have slipped, but a broader story remains the same. Purchase and refi demand diverge again. I'm seeing a blend of not just refinances, but also a lot of fixed to rent, a lot of fixed to flip, not overzealous renovation costs, keeping it very realistic, turning these properties right into rehab opportunities, which is always nice to see. Um, then we have also, the rates closed at around 6.95 on the 30-year. You know, right now rates are, you're right at the historical rate right now for the last 40 years. You're hovering between, 6.875 and 7.125. You're right around that 7% rate, whether it's cash out, whether it's purchase, whether it's whatever you're looking to do, it's hovering around there. Construction money has come down. It's leveling off probably high eights right now. So I'm seeing a lot of fixed to renters coming off the sidelines, not a lot of fixed to flippers. Um, some interesting news that caught my eye this week as well, and in our discussion today, obviously, there's already a article posted on LinkedIn, which will be shared out to my other social media groups on the power of focus and building your real estate niche. But multifamily investment has poised for a comeback a little bit. I mean, I think there's a saturation point where there's only so much B level institutional money that can be completed and fulfilled. I think we're having a big rub with Section 8 and affordable housing. We'll probably see some more movement on that in the urban cities and how that impacts, home living, home buying in the urban settings. It's already impacting Philadelphia, Baltimore, St. Louis. I mean, people are just not buying houses to live there. They're only really going back into the cities to rent. So, what I'm seeing right now is a massive investor movement into the urban settings in providing more housing for either Section 8 or market rent. But I'm seeing more leaning toward the Section 8 route as well. Pending home sales have have declined sharply as mortgage rates kind of stay where they're at. People are a little disenchanted with rates not coming down. I mean, listen, we were giving away a lot of money for the last 4 years. We need to play a little catch up. And as they peel the onion, they're not going to like what they see at every place where they're finding a lot of fraud, a lot of questionable money being allocated. So right now, it's basically a reset of what's going on in the market. So we're going to probably need to see where we are in 26 before we start seeing rates maybe in the late sixes. But I really think we're only within a quarter point, I think, of our movement for the rest of the year. But that's a personal opinion, and you know what opinions are like. But I think rates are going to kind of stay right around where they're at, unless there's something massively announced over the next several months or next quarters. The rental market, though, heats up as a peak leasing season begins. So we really didn't see at all any type of spring market in home buying. We saw a spring market in a buyer's market, an investor's market. So as the rental market heats up and the competition level is higher now, because now you have all this multifamily eat, work, and live. You have a lot of properties being renovated and brought to the front line. And then you got conversions of office retail being brought into the residential space. So how those classifications go, and then you got your condo market and townhome market leveling off or even decreasing in value over the last couple quarters. So the suburbs are doing quite well home buying still. I'm not saying that it's dead. I'm just saying that, in the urban settings, I think you're not going to see a big home buying environment. You're going to see a heavy investor environment. In the suburbs, it's going to be pocketed where it is, where the market stays tight for home buying, and days on the market stay tight. But days on the market overall are increasing in a lot of markets. You're not going to get multiple offers at the same time. So let's dive into our subject today, and then we'll get to our moderators, of course. The power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche, is a very powerful concept that helps real estate professionals stand out in a crowded marketplace. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, agents or investors can carve out a specific niche that aligns with their strengths, their passions, and their local market needs. So we're going to break this down a little bit. Why focus matters in real estate? Differentiation, efficiency, branding clarity, referral potential. I have so many people, hey, why don't you do residential loans for owner occupied? Because I don't like it. I love working with real estate investors. I'm very passionate about it. I don't have to do something I don't like, and you shouldn't have to either. So, focus on what matters to you and where your passion is. How do you create your real estate niche? Assessing your strengths and your interests. What type of clients do you enjoy working with? What type of properties do excite you? Where do you already have expertise? Geographic, demographic, lifestyle. So I'm actually hosting an event this weekend at my office here in Philadelphia, and it's on AI. I mean, I understand AI. We use AI in a lot of our blogs and articles, and our Google team that does a lot of marketing for me. But I leave some of the experts to do what they need to do. I feed them the information and content, and then they kind of take it from there. Study your market. Who is underserved in your area? What kind of properties are in demand? What are the trends? Downsizing, investment, luxury? Which one's emerging? Define your ideal client, age, income level, lifestyle, buyer, seller, investor, or renter, first-time home buyer, luxury buyer, seniors, etc. I get a kick out of investors that tell me that I'm going to wholesale for this year, and then I'm going to buy maybe a couple single families, then I'm going to go buy myself a 100-unit multifamily. That's not going to happen. Let me just give you the reality check. Okay. That's just not going to happen. So you gotta build correctly, defining who your client is and who you are, and selecting your niche. Okay. If you're a real estate agent, first-time home buyers in a specific city, waterfront properties. If you're an investor, fix and flip investors, multifamily investments, relocations, or clients coming in from out of country, short-term rentals or Airbnb niche, military or VA clients. I'm working with a lot of military landlords that are working the landlord market around military. They're doing quite well. Build authority and brand in your niche. Educate yourself deeply, taking courses, getting certifications. Biggest suggestion, like Hey, I met three people like, hey, Joe, wow, you teach CE. How do you do that? I put them in touch with the school where my classes are approved by. You want to be the educator. You want to be the go-to individual in the front of the room, right? You want to be passionate about what you do. So providing CE certification courses for real estate agents, mortgage loan officers, title people, insurance people, you look and represent yourself as an influencer and representing yourself as a knowledge base in your space. I created a course on asset-based lending. Guess what I do all day? Asset-based lending. Create a targeted marketing website, niche focused content, blogs, or video series answering niche specific questions, using social media to showcase expertise, tips for the landlords, local schools, and for the families. Like, I'll give you an example. We've changed our whole model of our investor events that we're holding. We no longer allow people to stand up and do presentations. It is a mastermind setting, fireside chatting environment where I provide questions, and then we open it up to the audience and make sure the audience responds and be part of the event. Network intentionally. Attending events your ideal clients go to. Fish in lakes that have fish. Don't go to a lake. Listen, if you're a real estate investor, why are you going to a Chamber of Commerce event or a BNI event where it's very specific, intentionally put together? I want to be in real estate investor group meetings, or I want to go to a lawyer meeting or a CPA meeting because they have clients that might be looking for investor driven opportunities or looking to get rid of a property. CPA associations, bar associations. Network intentionally. I look at my calendar every single week and I'm intentional in where I'm going. I know where I'm going to be tomorrow morning. I know where I'm going to be tomorrow night. I know where I'm going to be on Tuesday. I know definitely where I'm going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm going to be at a landlord expo in Indianapolis, Indiana with Jeffrey Taylor. You all should be there, right? If you're going to be a landlord or you are a landlord, that's where you're going to walk away with something. There are going to be 300 landlords. Do you think that's the perfect place for a lender to be and speak at and present at? Leverage your testimonials, people that talk nice about you in reviews, on past clients, in your niche. Highlight success stories and speak to the problems your niche clients face. Stay focused, but stay open. Start narrow, but as your brand grows, you can expand into related areas. Especially, like, I'll give you an example, like first-time homebuyers. You might later add investor-friendly properties for the same demographic. Real-world examples, niche and actions, like location, where you are specifically, what type of individual you're going after, what type of strategy is it, educational workshops, Instagram tips, partnerships, local networking groups, or creating your own networking group. And the result should be a referral based business within 18 months, maybe even less, focused on solely on your niche. Let's open it up to ladies first, of course. Good morning, Amy. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion. The power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche.
Good afternoon, Joe.
What's going on? Good. I mean, if anybody has built out a niche in the past 12 to 18 months, you have literally nosedived off a cliff of 100 miles high and taken the prop tech council to the next step. So, what was the light bulb that say, okay, listen, this is where I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to pivot really hard. And I mean, you're all in, right? There's nothing going. You really kind of can't go back in a sense, in a good way. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's maybe the point I wanted to make, right? I mean, there's opportunities that come along your way, right? And then those opportunities you need to obviously do your due diligence, like you do your due diligence on everything, and then once you've determined if that's an opportunity, then you have to. Why would you? If there's a true opportunity that comes along, why would you not give your best effort at it, right? And it's going to take a long time. I mean, the opportunities that you're looking at, especially like what I did when I was going from real estate into technology, um, it took me about a year or two to make that decision. So I was doing both kind of in parallel. So I'm Amy Palvido. I am the founder and CEO of a technology company called Facilimax. I'm also the chair of the U.S. PropTech Council, which is the trade association for the real estate technology industry in the United States and now in Canada and also Mexico. But I'm a long-term real estate investor and construction person. I had a construction company 22 years ago. Yeah, I think my point is that if you're doing the right things, if you're being successful in the areas that you're at, sometimes other opportunities, either they're adjacent to what you're doing or they'll present themselves, because at the end of the day, you're a business person. And if you're doing well, you say you chose single family and you're a realtor and that's what you do. And then along comes these like small commercial properties. And your friend asks you to, because real estate investors are real estate investors, they own a lot of different things. You look at this opportunity as, oh, there's small commercial. Maybe I can build my expertise here. And it's okay to dabble if you're going to do one or two properties, but take a second and really understand that opportunity. Don't just dabble and then miss an opportunity. Like, look at it from, okay, let's look at what's the total addressable market size? Like, how many small commercial properties are in my area or in my state? And is this something that, are there buyers, especially say, look at what are the available commercial properties, and maybe it's industrial or maybe it's small multifamily or whatever it doesn't really matter. Understand your markets to then possibly seize an opportunity. So when I switched from real estate to technology, it's because I built a tech firm. I built this technology that I had deployed on my properties. And as we were using it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like really real. And this has got a lot of legs. And so then I started really like looking at, okay, where can I go with this? Who's really going to want it? How are we going to, how are we going to market it? What does it look like? I've never been a tech founder before. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Let me kind of figure this out. And it's taken me years. And this is not something that, 6 months and here I am. No, it's taken me years. And then the council idea, and if I was going to say, if you're going to totally dive in, if there's an association, that's what I noticed about PropTech was there was no association. There's a million real estate groups. We all know this. Like, there's a group for every group's group in real estate. But when I got to PropTech, I was like looking around for a group, and I'm like, where's the group? Like, I don't understand. Why is there no group here? So I started it because I knew the power of being inside of a network, and there was no network. So I had to create the network myself. So I did. And it's been really super beneficial for me from a credibility standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. We create events. We have this big community. We're bringing in investors. I mean, it's just a really good thing. The power of a community is really good. And so maybe whatever your niche is, there is no group. I would wholeheartedly suggest that you create one, because it does just provide this. People want to be in community, and it does provide you stages and credibility and all these other different things by being in one or leading one. So half a nickel, Joe. Maybe that's a full nickel.
I think that's a damn good full nickel, and I always appreciate that, Amy, as always. So I will tie that into an article I just wrote last week, RIAs versus real estate investor groups. And it's gotten about 2,000 impressions on LinkedIn. And I think people are getting tired of the tired stuff. They want something new. They want something fresh. They want to feel like when they walk out of something, they just walked out with a massive opportunity. How do you keep that niche going in your prop tech space to keep that excitement with your podcast, your interviews, your events, your expansion? Like, what are some things that you're talking about right now for the long haul, for the next year, to expand that niche?
Yeah. So we're developing initiatives, which is really cool, so that we have, I mean, prop tech and real estate technology, just like real estate itself, is very broad. So, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. And so, like, I purposely made it a very big umbrella, really because I wanted people who were developing technology for real estate sake, for life sciences, would that might have applications in multifamily. We don't know, but nobody was talking to one another. So I really wanted that big umbrella, but that allows me to create smaller working groups and initiatives underneath the council. So we just had a webinar with the world's largest insurer and a couple of other tech startups on so technology can reduce your insurance costs. And then out of that first webinar, we're building a whole initiative around if you use technology, you can reduce your insurance costs, but we want to take it further than what's allowed today. So we want to build this initiative around real estate owners really using technology to drive the data that will reduce risks from an underwriting standpoint, so everyone can benefit, right? And so so we're partnering with InsurTech New York and a couple of the other InsurTechs around this whole initiative of PropTech and InsurTech coming together to solve a really, really big problem right now. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. But to keep we look at all sorts of, I pay attention to the news. I have 3 podcasts, and everybody seems like that's a lot. And for me, I've kind of figured out how to do it. And I call myself a lazy podcaster. So it's actually a live show. So there's no editing, there's no fancy stuff. I just call it a live show because that's what it is, because I don't know how to edit. So I hit start, I hit stop, and I push it. And I've been doing this for a while, and so I just, instead of creating a podcast, I just created a live show, and that's what I figured out after a while. And so I stream it. I stream it to LinkedIn. I stream it to YouTube, and we're starting to build a following. I get about, I don't know, between 1,000 and 2,000 views every week on my data center news show, my real estate news show, and and so that's a format I figured out that works. And I just bring people on this week, and we talk through the latest trends and news, and they opine with their opinions on like what they've got, what they think, and I bring some really cool experts in the space, and it's fun. It's just a conversation, and so I do those, and then I do another interview show. But they're all like, that's how I can produce so much content. Now I will say I've got a lot of work to do on I can monetize that content and do better ways of marketing it, but we'll get there. I mean, right now, if you're starting to build something and you're new in a space, just push content. Yes, it can always be better, but don't start because it's not the best. Just start. And then what happens is you'll kind of find a way that works for you. You're pushing out content, people are seeing it, people are liking it, but it might not be the best. It's okay. You just improve every day. And as you improve every day, it eventually gets better. But don't start because it's not at a point you think it needs to be, because that's just silly. I mean, it's more important just to push the content out there than it is to make sure it's a perfect video. So that's another half nickel.
You gave me almost a full dime this morning, Amy. Thank you. There you go. So what I see Amy diving toward is that real estate niche building toolkit, step by step, like a marketing plan, plug and play, brand positioning, what type of clients are energizing you, what type of properties are you passionate about, or what part of the industry are you passionate about? Yeah, I'm very passionate about asset-based lending, so I get right into it. I dig into it. We actually have a class coming up, underwriting course for white label marketing, June 21st here in Philadelphia. It's a Saturday, so you can come in on a Friday, spend a weekend in Philadelphia, and it could be a great event just to get yourself entrenched into that space. Do you have past experience and relevancies to give you that edge? Where are the local and professional connections? See, I'm a big believer that I think every market is mine to tackle because I have very specific strategy in how I discuss those type of approaches with clients to get them comfortable with me in regards to real estate investing and working with me from a lending perspective. Okay, what real estate and trends do you find interesting? Right, analyzing your market, what's underrepresented in your area, what's growing or declining, what's overstate saturated, and what is the best thing to avoid right now. What problems are buyers and sellers frequently facing? So I only work in the investor space. So I'm only looking at investor buying and investor selling and defining your niche, who you are, what is your marketing plan, building your niche authority, finalizing the niche and mission statement, creating niche focused bio for website and social media. You know, how many videos have you done this past month on tips of the trade, creating value and visibility? Starting a blog, an article, a newsletter, bi-weekly, weekly, daily, polls, putting out polls and doing niche podcast interviews, hosting a webinar, free or in-person workshop, reaching out to 5 local businesses for cross promotion or other real estate professionals, other services. Brand position yourself, find a niche within a craft at the same time, right? That elevator pitch. Not everybody can put an elevator pitch together. I have found that as a massive problem. People can't put it together in an elevator pitch. Bob, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion, the power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche. Bob?
Hey, good morning, Joe. Hey, good morning, Joe. So I'm Bob Chesick, president of Chesapeake Corporation. I help people set up LLCs. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give legal advice. Before I give my comments, just a quick PSA to anyone in the room. If you own a Delaware LLC, just a reminder, your annual report is due today. $300 if you pay it today, $507.50 if you pay it tomorrow. Not my rules, those are the states. So just a heads up if anyone in the room is affected by that. So carving out your niche. This is something that I personally struggled with and actually have had recent discussions about with other business owners, not just in real estate, but in other types as well. When you're looking at it's so tempting. And of course, I fell in this trap, and I'm sure anyone on the stage who's owned a business at some point or another has fallen into this trap, either, shallow or deep, that there's this, you don't want to say no to a customer. You want to be able to do anything within your wheelhouse. But the question somehow eventually becomes that you get drugged down a path. If you do too much stuff, you might be drugged down the path that you don't want to go into, where you're either not, you're not using your time for maximum profitability, or maybe you're just doing work that's just going to ultimately lead you to burning out and losing interest on what it is. So there comes a point, and it's happened to me, I would say at least 3 or 4 times throughout my career, where you have to take a step back and focus and make decisions. Okay, I know I can do this, but do I want to do it? Or is this what I want to focus on because this is where I'm going to either make my money, be the happiest, or preferably a combination of both? And even as Joe said, he could do owner-occupied residential. He chooses not to. It's not where his interests lie. Doesn't mean he's not capable, just means he doesn't want to do it. We're struggling right now with one of our products and realizing that even though we've done it for several years, it's causing more problems than it's worth. And we're having an evaluation of whether or not we need to revamp it or just kick it to the curb. Like I said, when you go through business, these things happen. But what is very important is that if you're choosing to be in a niche market, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, actually, that's probably where you're going to excel. But even if you know how to do other things, that does not mean you cannot be a resource to, at a very minimum, show that you have an understanding, not just in your niche, but also in related areas. And perhaps this comes down to the key thing: referral, referral, referral. Throughout your networking, you might meet people that are capable of doing what you're doing, but maybe that's their niche. These are the people you want to network with, because you might be able to get back and forth flow of referrals and clients between each other. And there's nothing more powerful than having a tight group of people sending you referrals to your business, even and knowing that you're sending them back as well. Once that momentum gets going, you're going to find that not only are you happier with your niche, you're going to make your network happy with you, because you're not just producing for yourself, you're helping them produce as well, and vice versa. So that's one strategy that we've learned to employ, that there's just certain types of orders we can't take, but I've got a few people in my contacts that I could forward a message onto and say, hey, so and so needs this in Florida, can you take care of it? And that's how you build the strongest possible niche around your brand and around your business. As I said, nothing was intended as legal advice. Joe, back to you.
Bob, thank you as always. And I'm going to segue to that into a pros versus cons doing too much in real estate investing, right? Getting heavily involved in real estate investing can be exciting and really lucrative, right? But doing too much, whether that means over leveraging, overextending your time, or taking on too many projects or properties, can carry significant downsides. I'm going to break down some of the pros. The pros: higher income potential, economics of scale, diversification across markets, faster wealth accumulation, increased leverage resources, professional credibility, right? But here are the cons: over leveraging risk, burnout, cash flow problems, market dependency, delusion of focus, complexity and compliance issues, opportunity cost. If you're scaling fast, build that team early: property managers, accountants, attorneys, contractors. Also implement systems. The minute I implemented my Google team with Yordell at Percatech and everything else, things have become very streamlined. Okay. I'm handling my operations much more efficiently. I'm also facilitating inbound lead traffic very differently now. I could definitely assess my cost effectiveness of the marketing with my team better now than ever before. Now we're just trying to enhance certain things. Like I had a discussion with Uriel about YouTube. I had a discussion with him about the events, our email blasting, different types of things. That it's a different type of discussion, because I have this group of experts facilitating my marketing. I have a marketing team. That's all they do. And all they do is allow me to feed them more content, whether it's video, articles, polls. I'm feeding them content, and they're just turning it around and moving it right back out to my marketing platform. That's very important to me. And I'm trying to find other things that I can leverage, right? Like, I'm not really worried about getting onto other people's podcasts, because I have enough video content for my own. I mean, it's nice if I'm asked. It's nice when I get to teach a course and provide insight to real estate professionals. But there's so many other things I'm involved with: networking events, connecting people to one another. Like, I got to follow up with a gentleman I met with a property manager this past week. I got to do a follow up and get him scheduled to speak at a couple of my events, because he brings a whole nother dynamic to the event. I mean, 30 years of experience. I need that in front of my people. I'm talking about expanding on my events as well. I want to hold an event quarterly or monthly in a certain area of central Pennsylvania. And we're retracting an event we were supposed to do in Delaware. We're going to push it out to August. We're being humble about expectations. You got to set expectations realistically as you focus and create and build your niche. Felix, good morning and welcome. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion: the power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche.
Grand Rising Joe, Grand Rising everybody. Felix Buchanan Sr., the J-Lix Group, Passion for Destiny, Holdings, LLC. I specialize obviously in rehabs, credit repair, business funding, and just to give my knowledge on the discussion, creating your niche. Obviously, we've spoken about this a lot. With doing your niche, it allows you to be laser focused. It allows you to, know exactly what you're looking at. knowing who your ideal client is, honing in on your numbers. What are you investing in? Are you investing in single family homes, multi units, townhomes? If you're an agent, are you buyer, seller, or investors? Having your niche just really allows you to know your market. Know why you should be in this particular neighborhood, why you shouldn't, what numbers make sense. Does this townhome versus this multi-unit versus this single family home make sense? Does it make sense to buy land and build? Um, what are the best neighborhoods? What makes this neighborhood ideal for what it is that you're doing? What are the after repair values to you being in this particular market that it's going to allow you to make the return on investment that you're looking to make, as well as present and make the price of the home reasonable for whoever it is that your end buyer is. It helps you be honed in on what your rehab numbers are going to be based off of square footage. If you go into these houses after laser focus, after you've done a few, you don't have to go into the property no more. You'll be able to know based off of what the square footage is, looking at the pictures, exactly how much money you're going to spend when you get to like a real tight niche. It helps with your rehab budget. It helps with so many different layers of just having these things in complete order, knowing what buyers and sellers, that even if you had properties and you're going to wholesale some of those properties, just knowing what your exit strategy would be, knowing and having multiple exit strategies, because you could buy a property for one reason and something happens in the middle of the rehab or the market changes or what have you. Understanding that if these things happen, how to pivot, what's going to be the best way to pivot. It limits unnecessary conversations. Why have a conversation with someone? Of course, it's always good to network, but if you're specifically, focused on something, then you know that this person coming to have a conversation with you about something completely different. There's no need for me to even, waste a whole lot of time talking to you, because I know that whatever it is that you're providing me won't be beneficial to what I need. What you need to spend money on in education, because at the end of the day, you still need to be super skilled at your craft. So you need to have the education that provides you the skills that you need to be dominant at what it is that you're doing. And that's my knowledge for the day, Joe. Back to you.
Well, Felix, I'm going to put you to grill here. So we've been in the business a long time. We've known each other a long time.
Right.
And how do you, at this point of your career, differentiate the scammer versus the time waster? Are they the same? Are they different? Is the scammer a little more aggressive or the time waster a little more aggressive in taking up your time? Because obviously, time is a value and you need to focus, obviously, in your niche. So you're also leading a team as well. How do you help people kind of not get distracted by either or? Does that make sense?
Yes. They are different because the scammer has a specific they came in here with a specific agenda as to what it is that they were going to look to do to scam you out of whatever it is that they're scamming for. A time waster is just as much as I can sit here and just talk to you about anything, they're just, they don't have a specific agenda. For me, it's all about what questions that you ask and knowing that, hey, I'm asking these specific questions to this person. If this person doesn't answer these questions in this manner, then I know that either you are a scammer, because if I ask you certain questions about what's going to go on within this rehab and you're not being direct or giving me the proper answer that I know that should be given, then are you scamming? I'm not gonna use you. And I'm big not on time wasting regardless. So that's one thing that you have this amount of time to get whatever it is that you gotta get out or say what you're saying. And if I feel as though that, and I teach, my team this, if you feel as though that they're not providing you no valuable information in the conversation and y'all been talking for 5 minutes, then hey, there's no need to give them another 5 minutes. And then now, next thing you know, that 5 minutes then turned into an hour. Because again, as you said, the time waster is just going to look to suck that energy out of you.
Yeah.
And I hope that answered the question.
No, you definitely. I mean, listen, we're all on social media, and a lot of people want to take up your time, and they don't want to get to the root of the matter. Um, in my space, and I'm sure you probably find this relevant. I'll have somebody wanting that for me to give them a quote on no information. They want me to give them rates, fees. I don't know anything about them. I don't know their credit score. I don't know anything about the property, and they want me to kind of give them a closing term sheet, with a stick figure of information. And sometimes I just go, hey, listen, let me get your email. And I email, hey, I shot you email. When you're ready to get on a call for 2 minutes, let me know. We'll put that quote together and make sure you know what your fees and rate is. And they still will, hey, can you still give it to me over the message? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So it's like I gotta stay focused because they will time suck you to the end.
They
The,
will.
it
They
just
will, because of the fact that, like you were saying, it's, hey, just give me this quote on this, and you're like, well, if I don't have all the information, because I love those people that call you with the hypotheticals, like,
yeah.
oh, if I bought land, how much is it going to cost to build a house on it? Well, all you wasn't going to give me the easy answer. You didn't call me with an easy answer question.
Yeah. It's like a 50, like throw a dart up in the air and hopefully you'll hit a balloon somewhere, you know? But I appreciate that, Felix, because we are in definitely markets that we have to deal with both almost on a day-to-day basis. It's like hand-to-hand combat of the mind,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bob, did you want to add something of kind words?
Yeah. First of all, I love that discussion you just had about the people that just call up and they just want the blind quote with no variables, or what's it going to cost to build a house on this piece of property. The first thing I'm thinking is, well, it's going to cost anywhere between $1 and $10 million. Take your pick. But I get something similar with people that they'll call me up and blindly just say, what's it going to cost me to form an LLC? And we do all quotes to order. Not to say that we don't know what things are going to cost, but there are variables.
Yeah.
And so if somebody just pushes us on that, I just give them the worst case scenario price. I just say $2,000 plus state fees. I don't charge $2,000, but I just quote that.
Yeah.
Say, well, it might be less than that, but you won't give me any information.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough battle we're all in as professional services. I mean, and Bob, thank you, and Felix, of course, thank you. I mean, I think it's about mindset and strategy. Have you clearly defined your investment strategy, with someone? Okay. Are you pursuing deals that align with your long-term goals or clients for your long-term goals, or are you chasing every opportunity? Do you feel confident and focused, or are you overwhelmed and scattered? Right? It could be like your financial health situation. Like, are you carrying too much debt? Do you have 3 to 6 months of cash reserves for your livelihood, right? Can you comfortably cover all your expenses if your income drops by 20%? Have you stress tested your portfolio or just your revenue streams, right? Time and lifestyle. How much time have you spent taking care of your health? How many have you set boundaries? In your space. I don't take calls past 9 p.m. Just nothing really gets accomplished till past 9 p.m. Unless it's a family member or a close friend. I mean, I will answer the phone, but there's no reason to take a call after 9 and before 8 a.m. in the morning. There really isn't, unless there's a really big emergency, DEFCON 1 type of situation. Okay, you will burn out. Okay, so creating this niche and building this niche out, you also have to keep your mindset clear. You got to keep your health clear. You got to work on relationships. You got to work on priorities. I got to get things done, errands of my own on a day-to-day basis. I got to take care of myself. If I can't take care of myself, how the hell am I going to take care of you and your niche? Right? You got to have systems in place. You have to have trusted real estate team experts in your space to go to. Balance. Some red flags that you might be doing too much in building your niche out, not having detailed strategy discussions with your team of experts. being brief, delaying things, not returning phone calls, becoming a text maniac instead of talking to somebody in a human manner, feeling anxious, not getting good sleep. I get my sleep. If anybody will tell you, I get my 8 hours sleep, not being rushed. Like, listen, I traveled to um, South Carolina this past week. I was there Wednesday morning early, had to set up the table booth, get my thing for my speaking engagement set up. Went to a small little happy hour. I think it was like 5 o'clock. I stayed there all of about 45 minutes to an hour. As soon as I got back to the hotel, had a little soup, had a light beverage, and I was in bed. 8:30. And I woke up at 5:30. Guess what the first thing I did? I made sure, got a big glass of water, then had a nice little cup of coffee black, and then got to the gym for an hour to break a sweat. Then I got to work. Felt completely refreshed. So you got to find those resets to make sure your niche stays focused in creating and building. Yolanda, good morning, and thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much, Joseph. I am Yolanda Smith Charles, also known as Yolanda Sells Michigan on all social media. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Michigan. I'm also an elected county official. I'm actually out here in Birmingham, Alabama on county business. I've been here since Tuesday. I'm ready to be at home. And I love the topic. I love what I've heard. And this is definitely one where if you don't know already how to do it, make sure to save this replay, people, because Joseph just laid out like 18 different things for us to be litmus testing our businesses on. And so when it comes to niche or niche, whatever you prefer, I was taught that the riches are in the niches, although I like niche better, like quiche. But respectfully, like when Amy shared about her niche, she's absolutely 100% in her niche. I don't know that many of us can say that we have that super focused niche. So in my case, seeing how I'm fairly new to the real estate business, I'll be renewing my license for the first time in July. So, fairly new, right? And what I've found is when you're newer, sometimes it's hard to be a niche because you really just want production, you want the business. So I've been able to dabble in pre-foreclosure with seniors, with my senior real estate specialist license, working with downsizers or right-sizers and folks like that. I've also become very helpful to investors who have acquired properties that they can't manage. A lot of times people go to YouTube University and YouTube University tells them, buy a property in Flint, Michigan, and then they don't realize you have to have the infrastructure, particularly if you don't live in Michigan, to be able to manage that. And so I'm still feeling out what that looks like. Joseph, you've talked about many times before, real estate agents needing to diversify like their offerings. And so that's been very relevant and poignant, even to the point of perhaps getting a builder's license for myself on the one hand, because I want to be able to look at my own properties, kind of like what Felix was saying about, you walk through a couple of times and then at some point it becomes, you have a system, you probably have a checklist or a spreadsheet or something like that, and you can quickly underwrite something on the go. So again, just figuring out what your passions are, what's exciting to you, how to differentiate myself in my market, and constantly talking to people about real estate. I mean, closing every conversation with, who do you know who's looking to sell? Who do you know who needs some help with real estate? Who do you know who has questions about real estate? Quick shout out to Cindy down there in the listening lounge. But nonetheless, I appreciate the time to speak and looking forward to this next year as far as like what that will look like. And looking forward to reporting back. Over to you, Joseph. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. And I appreciate the kind words. I mean, you got to think clearly and act strategically. especially when it comes to making smart decisions in our area, right? Real estate is an ever moving, evolving industry. And you got to have the husband. And shamefully, we're all battling high school, I have to say, as grown adults. Oh, that person's not letting me speak, or that person's not letting me getting in front of this event. You know what? Stop the bullshit. Just do it yourself. I got tired of worrying about somebody else not allowing me to speak a long time ago. Okay. I graduated high school in 1987. I can't go back. Okay. So I create my own destiny. I create my own strategy. I create my own niche every day. Oh, nobody wants to put me on their podcast. No. They don't want me to. Screw them. Do your own. Nothing wrong with a little elbow grease, right? To build out your niche. Hold your own events. Don't wait on somebody else. Go out there and introduce yourself to it. If you're in a room with 25 people, every person in that room should know you. I want people to tell me, "Oh my, I met you already." Oh, great. Now you're meeting me again. How are you? Everything going well? You making any doing any business? Amy, some follow up?
Oh yeah, I just for Yolanda, I look. I remember when I first started out as a real estate investor, and was so my one thought would be anecdotal things do not equal an opportunity. Especially when you're first starting out, you'll start chasing this or chasing that. Back to Bob's point, just spend a half a second or maybe a month or two really diving into what that market is before you chase and waste your energy and effort on it. And sometimes when you're first starting out, it takes you that long to figure out, is it really an opportunity or not? But you'll get better at it as you do your due diligence on, is it worth going down this path? That's what the skill that you kind of hone the longer you're in the business that you're in, and whether it's aligning with the mission that you're trying to do. Sometimes your mission's wrong. Sometimes you make the wrong bet, and that's okay. But before you jump ship, make sure that you're actually really truly investigating the opportunities you might want to go spend your time on. So that was the other part.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a cost benefit relationship to the entire plan of building out your niche. Um, there's just so many different little things that you have to look at, and you're this is the problem also. You're being distracted all day by others trying to sell you something, trying to get in touch with you about one thing or another that might not have any relevancy to what you're trying to accomplish in that day. And that's also provides anxiety and frustration and stress. And you got to find a balance. You just got to tune it out, to keep the noise down low. That somebody told me that in a when I took a personal development course, keep the noise down low. It's just not cost benefit to flip your lid on something where it throws you off for the rest of the day. And I know we've all gone through that, and that's the power of focus. Stephen, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the power of focus, creating and building your real estate niche.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks. Yeah, this is Steve Franco with REI Homepage, and I have a problem because I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I love to do a lot of things. And what I've learned to focus on is that what I do best is helping other people develop and helping other people. Like I do deals. I'm a buyer. I'm a broker. I'm a wholesaler. I'm a landlord. But outside of my own ownerships, I like to help the other people. I like to help my agents develop their own deals, and I like to pass my deals to my agents and like that. And I love deal analysis. I love walking through that. So that's really the focus that I'm sort of focusing on, whether it be in self-storage, whether it be in whatever. And the one thing is, and as I said before on this podcast, I'm a late bloomer to, is developing the technological systems to support all that. So I didn't know about your AI class this Saturday. I might come out for that. But basically, I want to get into more automation of my systems, get my CRMs, get my whatever, all kind of fine tuning. And even though I may be involved in a few different categories of real estate, it's all about deal analysis and developing the team. And once you understand that, then I think it kind of falls into play a little bit, or falls into place a little bit. And the last sort of comment on that is to find, if you do like to do a lot of different portions of it, like I'm doing a lot of things, what is the commonality between all those things? And I finally realized for me, it's the deal analysis and the development of the what I call backwards 3D Tetris, rather than the being the contractor, being which paint should I use, which type of glue for which type of floor. That's not where I want to be. That's not what I'm good at. So getting out of that is really, I think that's my suggestion for everyone. And I know we're short on time, so I'll jump out.
No, I appreciate that. But Steve, you're realizing that sometimes, I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm not hitting a sensitive point, but obviously it's relating to something with you right now that, being too scattered throws a bad appearance to other people that you're trying to include in your circle of influence. Am I correct? Is that what I'm trying to? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. Like I have the tool set. I can send people toward the asset based lending with you. I can do this. I can do that. And then what I realized over the last year or two is that okay, yes, but really what I was originally in my former career was a chief engineer for TV stations, running the entire team, but sitting back in cabin doing nothing. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, is developing the team. I mean, the deal analysis and the complicated stuff is what I love. The simple process stuff isn't, so I'm replacing that. I'm just starting the book Who Not How, which is a terrific solution. Not how do you do it yourself, but who do you have do it with you, kind of logic. And definitely getting too wide when you get into a business or when you grow into something is easy.
Yeah.
Sitting down and saying, this is the portion of it I'm good at, and I'm going to put everybody else in their positions to do the rest of it with me.
Yeah, no, what I'm hearing is make fewer and better decisions, right? Real estate overwhelms people with volume, deals, numbers, people, paperwork. Good investors simplify. And that's what I like in my class. I mean, that's the funny part. In my underwriting course, I keep it simple and people want to keep making it complicated. Okay. My industry is not that complicated. What it is, it's very specific. We don't care about the story. We care about the specifics, the bullet points. Be specific. You're going to get more things done bullet pointing your objectives. Lead tracking, due diligence, weekly updates to I have a meeting once a week with Yardell or twice a week with Yardell just to see if we're capturing things that make sense. Time mastery. Do what moves the needle. What is the highest impact task? What is the highest productivity killers? You got to see what's happening there. You got to leverage and delegate and automate low value tasks, right? Especially in the social media space, you will become overwhelmed. You need to pay people to do what you need them to do. You will become overwhelmed. Building your real estate team of experts. Yes, yes, Steve.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but even to the point of last week, you were talking about CE classes, and you mentioned, oh, I have this course company that does it for me, and then you're like, oh, well, I might even partner with certain people. Honestly, I'm going to put the stuff together and see if partnering makes sense, because it's a lot easier to partner with someone in a sector than it is to say, hi, let me go off and fly blind into it. So exactly,
Yeah, I had somebody recently reach out to me. Oh, Joe, I want to get certified in CE. I'm like, okay, sure. It's going to cost you this, this, and this. Well, aren't you already qualified in those classes and paid for it? Yes, I can partner with you in those classes, as part of your workshops. So I'm here to also hopefully save you some money. Okay. So, I mean, there's all cost benefit of what we're talking about in identifying your niche. I want to thank our moderators. I mean, they've brought some really great lanes to this discussion of creating and building your real estate niche, and you got to keep working on it. Take a just sit down today and just think about what you've done and what you can do and what you want to see. Well, who is that client you want to identify with this week? Who is that individual? What is that property you want to identify with this week? What event do you think most? Go into Meetup. Keep it simple. Go to Meetup. Go within 50 miles of where you live and find an event that you feel that it completely relates to you, and schedule yourself to go. Try twice a week. Will it make any difference in your business? I want to thank our sponsors as always. Mr. Yarrow Perkins of Perkitect, who is my co-founder and co-host of this great podcast. the Creative Birth Strategies podcast, providing social media strategy and architecture to real estate professionals as well as business to business throughout the country. I'd like to thank Miss Linda Pelagas of Realty 411, providing events for national sponsors and national speakers on real estate, as well as a publication. I want to thank Lenmar Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing nationwide asset-based lending in the DSCR, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction throughout the country for real estate professionals. I'd like to thank MB Capital Solutions, where I'm a referral partner in the unsecured business line of credit space. I'd like to thank Elite Dealmakers, where I co-host events in New Jersey as well as Philadelphia on their behalf for real estate professionals and investors every single month. And then I'd like to thank TCS Property Management, where I hold my real estate licenses in New Jersey and PA, providing property management and maintenance services throughout the country in various markets for property management services for real estate investors and landlords. My quote this morning: success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success. Joyce Brothers. I think we all need to think about that and the power of focus in creating or building your real estate niche. My name is Joe Scarice. I'm senior loan analyst at Lenmar Capital, providing hopefully some great insight here for anybody that's listening in for education, networking, and strategy. We are the only podcast providing educational workshops throughout the country, providing continuing education for real estate agents in the asset-based lending space. And we're also extending now complimentary interviews on podcasting for you, who you are, what you do, and what your why is, and get it out there in front of thousands of people throughout our platform. So again, everybody have a great week. Hopefully, maybe I'll see some of you at the Landlord Expo in Indianapolis, Indiana, maybe in South Jersey at our real estate group Monday night coming up. But have a blessed Sunday morning, and I will be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you.